The first meeting of the Linguistic Circle of New York took place on October 30th, 1943, and the notion soon arose of publishing a journal. The first issue of Word is dated April 1945. What passes for a history is an infuriating memoir by past President Robert Fowkes, who in the April 1995 50th anniversary issue airs grievances without naming names. Most infuriatingly, he gives, for 1953 on, a list of names and dates of managing editors and members of the editorial board without distinction. And when the current publisher, Taylor and Francis, put the journal online, they chose not to include the front matter. So I cannot tell you who was responsible for accepting most of the articles being discussed today, which date between 1954 and 1963. Fowkes insists that there was no competition between word and language, but André Martinet, in his accompanying memoir, says, "From 1945 until 1955, I felt fully responsible for whatever was published in Word," thus including Harris and Hockett, and moreover, Bernard Bloch, the editor of Language, and myself did not hesitate to exchange papers when we thought some of those we had received suited the other journal better. He also brags about having rejected Chomsky's syntactic structures. Both Fowkes and Martinet agree that the three-volume Festschrift for Martinet, amounting to nearly 1,500 pages, or more than twice the size of a usual 3 years of the journal, which had been rejected by Mouton in view of the similarly extensive Jakobson volumes, was a major setback to Word. Quite aside from the financial burden it must have been, volumes 27 through 29, 1967 to 69, marked a 3-year gap in book reviews, which was a very important part of Word. When the journal was surprisingly revived, Martinet's words, in 1970, the Circle had become the association it is today, but no record of the discussion of the name change seems to have been preserved. Note the date. 1970 was the year of the founding of linguistic inquiry, harbinger of a huge range of journals for subfields of linguistics, which may have siphoned off contributions that could have gone to Word. Could Martinet's anti-Chomskyan bias even have made it a venue for publication of articles by the rebels in the linguistics wars? He had nothing to do with the journal after 1966, but that gap was the time frame of the Great Schism. Our first pair of talks, turning to the moment, deal with approaches to language that appear to break free of prior linguistic approaches. Conceptually, this session ought to be the last of the three, but as they are both in the China time zone, they are 12 hours ahead of New York, so our 10 a.m. is their 10 p.m. on Saturday. David Weibel is currently visiting professor at Tonghai University's International College and professor emeritus at National Central University in Taiwan, where he was distinguished professor and served as dean of the College of Liberal Arts. His research has focused on designing intelligible language models that detect lexicogrammatical constructions that are neglected in dictionaries and grammars, and on investigating how a distributional approach can foster learner discovery of these constructions. The work has been published in journals such as Corpus Linguistics and Linguistic Theory, Tessal Quarterly, and Word. And now, Zelig-Harris's distributional structure, still unfolding 7 decades on.